Hello, welcome. Let's begin. We're going to start being seated down. On the ground, you can use a chair to sit down and take the flesh away from the sitting bones if you are sitting on the ground or on a chair. If you are on a chair, make sure that only the front bit of your, so only the buttocks bit is on the chair and the thighs are off the chair, feet softly connected to the ground, and then finding the uprightness. If you are sitting on the ground, make sure your hips are slightly higher than your knees so that your hip flexor doesn't have to grip. And to achieve this, it might be useful to sit on a half block or a full block or a cushion. And if your knees are quite high up, then take bolsters under your knees so that this area can really relax. And once you realize it's relaxed enough, then just keep removing the bolster out so that you can gently soften and introduce your hips and your legs to this ground sitting way. And then once you have done that and you've taken your sitting bones back so that your tailbone is floating rather than connected to the surface, find your uprightness by lifting the front of the body, softening the shoulders down, tucking the chin in. Imagine you have a wall behind you, and if you had a wall behind you, you want the back of your head and the tailbone and everything in between to be connected to the wall. So we have this instead of this. So align your head, tuck your chin in, but don't look down. It's just a shifting of the head back whilst the head remains upright. And then you have, hopefully this is what I am doing, according to my awareness I am, but that might not be the case. That all this here, from the top of the head to the sacrum, is in one line, and only the neck bit is slightly removed from the wall, if there was a wall. And then take your awareness within, breathing deeply, becoming aware of the central channel going through your body, starting from in between the sitting bones, going all the way up to the crown. And the crown is where, if you drew a line from the top of your ears to the center top of your head, that is where the crown is. And you feel an elongation from there. Even imagine that area to be lengthening up a little higher into space. And just take a moment to totally soften. So you soften your knees, you soften your hips, you trust your weight fully to the support of the earth in your hips, in your shoulders, and then also your jaws, your tongue, softening down, your eyes, the area behind your eyes, the area below your eyes, just at the top of your eyes. All of the eyeballs completely relaxed and softened with a soft internal gaze. And as you gaze yourself from the inside, gazing at yourself from the inside, become aware of any sensations that you can perceive. Start from the crown, going down towards the neck. What are you aware of? Sensations on the skin, sensations on the inside. Maybe you can feel your breath coming in and out through your nose. Maybe you can even perceive some vibrating or movement on the inside of your head. perceiving the sounds that you can hear from beyond the room, maybe from inside your body. Tuning yourself in to really welcome the sensations that are present with you every second, every moment, and then the next moment. And then going down from the neck and shoulders to the hands. Through the shoulders, down the spine to the hips. What can you perceive in the area of your trunk? Are there any sensations on the inside of your trunk, in your organs? Is there any movement? And welcoming any sensations, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant, even if it's just the feeling of the clothes on your skin, even if it's just the rib cage expanding and letting go again. And then perceiving from your hips your connection to the ground. Is the connection to the ground equal on the right and on the left? Do you feel aligned? How is the feeling from the hips all the way down to the feet, toes? Taking a moment to gaze inwards, to arrive home in this body. And then become aware of your body as a whole. And giving your whole body, your whole being, a smile from the inside. I know that from my own experience, I sometimes only become aware of my body when I am rejecting something, like rejecting pain or rejecting discomfort. And the invitation here is to become aware of your body with all that it offers at every moment in time. So making the awareness so subtle that you go beyond any sensations. So maybe there is, if you have any chronic pain in the shoulders or in the back or anywhere else in the body, going beyond that to perceive the 95% of your body that is not giving you strong sensation, and appreciating that. And really listening to the body. And that is an invitation that extends beyond a yoga session. You can do this driving, you can do this walking, you can do this shopping, you can do this when you're on the phone, you can do this whenever you remember, just bringing your consciousness into your body. And often this is a good gauge when we're in times of indecision. Do I go right or do I go left? Listening to the responses, tuning in to the responses of the body. That is what yoga can teach us. Just becoming aware of the little things where your inner teacher is listened to. And then become aware also of the space just beyond the body. And soften the space in your imagination that your body is in, softening the space beyond the body. loving the space beyond the body. And then let that love that you extended out to the space beyond your body seep back into your body. The pheasant approves. And then if we imagine a bubble around us, we have come to the time in politics where we're allowed to form bubbles with other people, but let's just become aware of our own bubble. And if you imagine a bubble of loving light around you, and as you inhale, you extend yourself out into that bubble around you, and as you breathe out, you bring that into your center, so into the solar plexus. This is energy channel that in yoga is called samana vayu. So you inhale out, connecting out into that light body, and then as you breathe out, you draw it into your center. So you feed that central sphere with warmth and kindness. And it is this awareness that I invite you to take into the yoga session today, the awareness of the samana vayu energy flow. Okay. Release your legs just for a moment. We will come back to sitting. So whichever way you are sitting, if you can continue sitting on the ground, just remember which leg you had in front. But we'll have a little moment of release, shaking the feet from right to left, bringing a little bit of movement into the ankle, into the knees, into the hips. Do what you need to do. Maybe you need to do some movements with the spine. And then sit back when you are ready, and sit back with the other leg in front. I told you to remember, and I haven't, so I might be sitting exactly the same way again. Maybe I should just change if I had that thought. Okay. And then we are going to do a breathing practice to tune us in. And I want you to take one hand just below the navel. Actually, before we do that, can you rub your hands together and feel a bit of warm friction between the hands? By the way, if you can no longer sit cross-legged, you can also sit in Vajrasana on a bolster in this way. See what feels right for you, or sit on a chair. So hands rubbed together, and then feel that warmth between your hands after you have rubbed the hands together. And you need to perhaps rub quite vigorously to start feeling that warmth. Until you think sparks could start flying. And then you take those sparks and put one just below the navel and put the other just on top of the chest here. And then just for a moment, listen to your breath. And feel your breath. Feel the movement. Feel the difference in movement between your lower belly region and your rib cage. Check again that you are definitely aligned, so tucking the chin in, but keeping the head upright. And then we will go into Ujjayi breath. So you slightly constrict the back of your throat, as if you wanted to do the sound ah, but you're doing it without sound. It's almost like a hissing, so ah. But you do that without the sound. I don't know if you can actually hear this. It sounds like this. And when you do this, make it come out and in through the nose. But keep your mouth and your jaws relaxed, keep your eyes soft, keep your shoulders relaxed. So the Ujjayi breath is also called the healing or the calming breath. So it's a breath that can easily be done or can be very useful if you have a moment of panic or anxiety or stress situation. Just coming into this type of breath where you give a sound to your breath, like a gentle snore. Feel the breath coming in and expand your belly to receive that breath. So imagine that the breath is actually coming in through your belly. And as you expand into the belly, you expand to the front, to the back, and into the sides. So imagine you have a balloon in your belly, and that balloon is being blown up by the air in all directions. And feel that lovely feeling of even the lower back muscles being stretched by that in-breath. And as you continue doing this, remember again the samana vayu, so that energy flow that is connected to the solar plexus, that inhale into the space beyond the body, and the out-breath into the center of the body. Do this simultaneously as you feel that expansion. And then take the awareness into the chest region and expand there. Expanding into the back, expanding into the flanks, expanding into the front. Soften the shoulders down. If you need to, you can change which position you have on top, which hand you have on top. And then take it a little bit higher, so come to the collarbone region and see if you can expand there. So it will feel with your hand that is on the top as if your top fingers are being slightly moved rather than your little finger side. And do this whilst maintaining a softness in the shoulders, but you feel that collarbone part. So it's the upper lobe of the lungs. The lungs consist of 3 lobes. Okay, one side has 2 lobes actually, and the other side has 3 lobes. So the side where the heart is has 2. The side where there's no heart has 3 lobes. And we want to engage with the upper lobe of the heart. And it is not a movement from the spine, it is really just a movement that is generated by focusing the breath in a different area. And then we connect those 3 breaths. So the full yogic breath, still with that Ujjayi focus, so but we inhale into the belly in one breath, chest, collarbone region, and then as we breathe out, keeping the whole region expanded, but in our focus, we breathe out from the belly, chest, collarbone, in that order. And see if you can really feel, in particular, your back space as you are doing this. And remember that light coming from the light body into you. And then just drop your hands, let your breath come back to normal, and just feel what has changed Are there any changes? Notice what you notice. And then slowly come out of this and sit in Vajrasana. So thunderbolt pose like this. If you need to, you can put a rolled up blanket or a half block or a cushion between the heels and the buttocks. Or if you find it hard on your ankles, then you can take a rolled up blanket or a pranayama cushion underneath the front of your feet like this. You can even take some rolled up socks and just put them under here. So see what you feel, what your needs are. Pardon me, what your needs are, accommodate them. And automatically when we sit in this position, of course you can also sit on the bolster. I almost forgot that. So if you're sitting on a bolster, make sure that the bolster is just aligned with your feet and doesn't come any further forward into your body. Okay. So once you have found your comfort in this position, we are going to engage with the throat region by going into the lion. The lion is really good for activating our vocal cords, but it's also really good for activating our solar plexus. So that space inside that gives you drive, that gives you confidence, that space that gives you radiance. If you know anyone in your life that has this aura and presence around them, that when they come into a room, I've certainly met people like this, when they come into a room, everybody looks for some reason. That person enters and everyone looks. That is usually a person with a very strong solar plexus. It's not always necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. There is no judgment around why people look, but it's that strength that's coming from the center. It's like a shine going out. And we're going to connect with that space of inner strength that also, when it is in balance, gives us the ability to dare to do things even though we think we might fail. We just allow ourselves to take risks, and only then projects can get started and can get seen through. So connect to that space from here, that sunny sphere that is drawing on the out breath inwards. Inhale into expansion, into that light body around you. Exhale into that center, as if there was this ball of light that wanted to become a fireball that gets stronger and stronger and brighter and shinier and shinier. And then take a deep inhale now into that center, and then take your arms inwards with the little finger sides facing each other. Round your shoulders and round your spine, and tuck your chin to your chest. So that is the first one we're going to do. Just do that a few times, just rounding in and coming back out open. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And then keep the body upright. And this time just take the arms forward, shoulder blades apart, breathe out forward, and inhale again. So you just round that shoulder part. So take the arms forward, as far forward as possible, taking the shoulder blades apart. And open, round, and open. And next time we're going to join this with our eyes. So let your eyes squint. So take the eyes together. And the next time, you're going to take your tongue out to your chin and roar. One more time. Remember, you need to squint. This is also a good one if you're self-conscious, to let you learn not to take yourself too seriously. But it's also good for self-expression, expression of your needs. Good work. Take your awareness inside and see how you feel. Just notice how you feel right now. Notice if anything has changed in your perception and awareness of yourself. And we'll do this one more time, and this time you will leave the surface you are sitting on, and you will do it like this. Okay? Ready? Deep inhale. I think we're all lioned out now. Okay. Now, we're going to just sit sideways. If sitting like this again is not available to you, you can sit either on the bolster or you can sit on a chair. Please do whatever is right for you. If you're sitting on a chair, just sit normally. If you're sitting on the ground and you are able to just sit sideways off your feet, then slowly turn your hands to the side. Find your uprightness as much as possible. See if you can just, even though that right, so I'm going to my left now and I'm sitting towards the left, but see if you can just allow that right sitting bone to soften towards the ground. It doesn't necessarily touch the ground. It's probably off the ground for most of us. It's definitely off for me, but see if you can just soften it down to bring a little bit of weight to it. And then find your uprightness from there and start turning your body away from it. Soften the shoulders down, look over your shoulder, chin tucked in, lengthen into the crown. And if you want to intensify it a little more, take the arms out to the side and look over the shoulder and imagine that beyond your fingertips you have strings that lengthen you into the periphery, into space. Like shiny hands, shining into your light body, receiving light from your light body. And then come back to the center. Turn it around, come to the other side. Again, first, as you sit, find your uprightness as much as possible in this slightly removed position from center, and let the left, if you are sitting towards the right, let the left sitting bone just drop in its weight. It doesn't have to touch the ground, but just letting it drop. And then find your uprightness from there. Imagine roots going into the ground from both sitting bones equally. Each are airborne. And then start twisting from here. Inhale, lengthen into the crown. Exhale, soften into the twist. Exhale, lengthen into the crown. Exhale, soften into the twist. And bring the chin into alignment, shifting the head slightly back so your spine is aligned as much as possible. Soften the shoulders down. Remember to soften both sitting bones down. You're feeling that rootedness. You can now have a focus of energy center awareness between your third eye and your solar plexus. So you imagine a line going, or like a loop, going round. And if you wish, take your arms to the side, connecting into the periphery, allowing space to help you. You don't have to, just do it if that is possible for you. So you're being lengthened into the periphery by your fingertips, but also by that golden thread on the crown. Breathing deeply. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, soften. And then slowly coming back. Good. I think we need to have a little bit of a reward, a relaxation. So take your toes together, sit on your heels, and then take your hands in front of you. Soften your hands into the ground. Soften your shoulders into the ground. And if you need to, take a bolster in between your legs, so you can, it's probably best to do it like this. And then slowly start coming down to the ground, but keep that connection to either bolster or heels established. So deep inhale, lengthen the crown away from the sitting bones. On the out breath, softening onto the heels or onto the bolster. And then keep traveling downwards. Again, every time, take a moment with your breath to lengthen the spine, crown to tailbone, softening on the out breath down onto your heels until you arrive on the ground. Once you have arrived on the ground, just surrender down to earth, soften to earth. And then if you wish, as an option, to bring a little more stretch into the shoulder region, you can take your elbows forward and your hands, the palms together behind your head. And then just soften the heart into the ground. And surrender is very different to resigning. Surrender means you are allowing whatever is at this moment in time. And then from that allowing, you have the potential to find the very best response from something higher within you. Surrendering into yourself, into your body experience at this moment in time. Softening into this moment. And then slowly taking your time, rising back out. Come onto all fours. Make sure you have your hands underneath your shoulders. If you were using a bolster, let go of the bolster now. Bring your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. If you need to support under your knees with half a block or some cushions, please do. And sometimes it's actually useful if you have pain on the kneecap, on the patella, to take the cushion slightly behind your knee so that your knee is floating in the air like this. So you only have the front of your chin on the block or cushion, but the knee is not touching the ground. Find the adjustments that are right for you. You might not need any. And then take a moment to just feel the alignment of your spine in this position. Imagine again you have a wall behind you and you want to be touching the wall with every part of your back. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Soften the hands into the ground. And then from here, start doing movements with your spine. Find the movement that your body needs right now. Maybe you want to go from side to side with your hips or with your shoulders. Maybe you want to go into the hill and valley with your body. Be playful. Find the movement that you need. Maybe circle your hips to the right, circle your hips to the left, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And then come off the ground with your body. For some people, this next pose, you might need a bolster for it. And if you do, the bolster would go here behind the ankles. And then check what you need under your knees. You might not need anything for this one. We're going to do a half camel pose. So softening the shoulders down, lifting the rib cage away from the hips, pull the navel in and up, soften the shoulders down. And first we will just take the arms up and stretch the right arm and then the left arm. Stretching the right arm, stretching the left arm. Lengthening up. Imagine you have threads again on your fingertips and the gods that are holding those threads. One is pulling diagonally slightly, just very slightly to one side, and the other, and they're taking turns. No, I want you to go that way. No, 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 go that way. And then keep that lift in your rib cage, but soften the shoulders down. Take one arm diagonally up like this. Take the other arm stretching to the back, and then from the rib cage, so keeping this area up until the rib cage aligned with your knees. You're not moving here at all. You just stretch that other arm onto the bolster or towards your heels. And imagine that diagonally in front of you from your fingertips, you are being pulled forward as you bend the upper part of the body backwards. Pull your navel in and up to protect your lower back and keep lifting out of the vertebrae, making spaciousness at the front of the vertebrae. And then rest again. Take a moment just to feel what has changed, becoming aware of that energy flow, especially in the area of your solar plexus. By creating these little vacuums and these little openings and expansions, you are generating an energy sucking into those different energy centers. So this one is for the solar plexus and the heart. And then we do the same to the other side. So diagonally take the right arm forward, extending into space, lifting the front of the body, creating space between the rib cage and the navel, between the rib cage and the hips. Pull the navel in and up, keep looking forward with your body, and then slightly coming back from the top end of your body, so your hips remain on top of your knees. And feel lengthen towards your front hand. And then bringing that spaciousness into the front side of the vertebrae. Keep pulling your navel in and up. Breathe deeply. Breathing into the heart. And inhaling from space into the solar plexus. And come back. Good. Take that away. And just for a moment, sit again on your heels. In fact, come back forward onto all fours. feel your spine. See what your spine needs now. A little bit of swaying sideways, a little bit of rounding and arching. What is it you feel you need right now? And it might be different to what you were doing before. And then walk your hands out so that the heels of the hands face forward. So you're walking outwards towards your little finger side. And then you see if there is more needed to get that stretch on the forearms. So you might be able to, but listen to your body, to slightly lean towards your feet. If the sensation is already quite strong, just breathe into that. And then take the fingers inwards towards each other, but the back hand towards the ground. This can be quite intense, so be gentle. Don't put all your weight onto it. So like this, the back hand towards the ground, and just feel that stretch around the front of the wrists. And then shake your hands out. Take your right leg forward. And make sure you have a distance between your front leg and your back knee, so that you have a 90-degree angle in your front knee. And then first be a little playful, so you can come forward and backwards. You might need a cork block or a book on either side of your hands to support that traveling forward and backwards with a straight spine. So accommodate yourself. Make sure that this is comfortable for you. Make sure that this is aligned for you. Coming forward and backwards. Opening, hydrating those spaces in the hips. And then from here, take your arms up. And I want you to do a Garudasana, so an eagle pose with the arms. So if you have your left leg forward, take your right arm on top. If you have your right leg forward, take your left arm on top. So I said put your right leg forward. That means take your left arm on top. But just in case you did it differently. Soften your front leg towards the ground, and then take elbow on top of elbow and reach through into the eagle pose, either backhand to backhand or coming all the way around. But if that isn't possible, you can also just put your inner arms together like this, like a prayer position, and keep lifting into your solar plexus, inhaling into that light body, exhaling into that sunny sphere. extending the fingertips upwards. So find the position where you can keep your forearms and your fingertips aligned. And then inhale upwards. This is an optional extra, you don't have to do it. Tuck your back toes under and lift slightly up. Breathing into that solar plexus. And slowly come down again. Good work. Transition with a downward dog. So take your hands next to your front foot and come up into downward dog. Just for a moment, feeling a pull from the thighs, from the top of your thighs, away from your hands. Lengthening the right arm, lengthening the left arm, lengthening from the sitting bones. And then take your left leg forward. And then for a while, take your hips forward and backwards to hydrate, smooth that hip joint. Making movements in the ankle, making movements in the hips, making movements in the knees. And every time you come forward, meet the ground with your toes. Soften the toes into the ground. And then stay forward for a moment. Remember, you can use cork blocks to give you a bit of a lift, or big, large books. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. What are your jaws and your eyes doing? Are your eyes soft, or are your eyes straining because you're thinking about it? Is your tongue soft? And then taking the arms up. Optional extra, you don't have to do this. If your left leg is on top now, you take your right arm on top. This is also a balancing act, as you can probably realize. So the opposite arm comes on top to the leg that is in front. And then coming on top, elbow on elbow, either backhand to backhand, or the palms meeting, twisting round, or the inside of the arms meeting like this. Do what feels right for you. Use your breath as a gauge. Inhale, lengthen into the crown. Exhale, soften the hips. And then the next optional extra, tucking the back toe under, coming up, engage the pelvic floor lift. It doesn't have to be a big lift, but sometimes a big lift is easier than a smaller lift. Inhale deeply into the solar plexus. Reaching down. Come back. And then take your hands onto your front thigh. Come up to standing. Take a moment just to stand and perceive your body. How are you feeling now? Has your body worked quite hard? Then take a moment to appreciate. So just perceiving how you are feeling now, softening into your feet, softening into your toes, and notice what you notice. And then take all your weight onto your left leg And start circling your right foot. You can use space to help you. So circling from the ankles. See if you can make circles with the toes. And watch the circle you're doing with your toes if you can. And what kind of walls do you have your hands on? Are they brick walls, or are they bamboo walls, or are they hedges? Can you trust those walls that you've put your hands on? Spread your toes, soften your toes, spread your toes, soften the toes, spread, soften, spread, soften. Shake the foot out, circle your whole leg inwards and outwards. Now take the leg forward and backwards. Swing, make smooth that joint. With that swing, go forwards and all the way back as far as is comfortable for you. See if you can maintain that balance from the solar plexus again. The solar plexus stays central, and you focus on that as your central point as you let that leg swing. And then come back. Notice what you notice. Take a moment to observe those changes. How is your right leg, your right hip, your right knee feeling compared to your left leg, your left hip, your left knee? Find your walls again to put your hand on top. Soften the roots into your left leg now, and then start circling the foot inwards first. And remember, it's in your foot rather than your knee. It's your foot that is making the circle. The toes are drawing a big circle just in front of you. And circling in both directions. And then the toes spreading, softening, spreading, softening. And then coming up, circling with the hip inward. Notice the difference between the right side and the left side. And then outward circle. And then swinging forward and backwards. Is your balance different on the right and on the left? Focus into this still point around the solar plexus as you swing that leg forward and backwards, opening the hip joint. And then soften, shake it out one more time. Soften into the feet, spread the toes, softening into the heels, softening the shoulders. Let the arms be heavy, soften into the hands. Take a cork block or a large book. If you don't have anything to hand, don't worry about it, but put it behind your right foot. And then, putting that cork block behind your right foot, you take your arms to the side and first extend your arms out into the periphery, imagining those fingertips being connected by golden threads. Expanding into the horizontal plane. And then turn the same hand where the block is behind, so the right hand, turn it upwards. And then come up towards the opposite side, keeping that arm long, but also keeping spaciousness on the left side in your spine. Keep the hip as aligned as possible. In fact, slightly turn your body, twist your body slightly towards that upper arm. Breathe deeply. And then soften into the foot, into the supporting foot, into your left foot, if you are bending towards the left, and take your right foot with the toes onto that back heel, that back cork block. So you're bending away from the leg where the cork block is, and spread the toes of that back foot on that cork block or on that book. If you don't have anything higher behind you, just do it towards the ground. But sometimes it just helps to bring an extra dropping sensation into the knee of that leg. So let that knee get heavy. And then, if you wish to intensify it, take that back leg behind the left leg. So you're crossing behind there, like this. Breathing deeply, opening, and relax, soften down. Notice what you notice. Soften into your feet. Soften your shoulders. Soften your heart. Soften your eyes. Soften your fingers. And then move the block behind the other foot. So I'm moving the block behind my left foot now. Take your arms to the side and take the hand that is on the same side as where you have the block. So for me, my left palm facing upwards. Keeping length in both sides of the flanks, start moving towards the right, so away from the block. Feeling that stretch as much as possible in both sides of the spine. Soften the shoulders. And then if that feels right for you, take that left leg, so where the cork block is, back and put it on top of the cork block. Spread the toes so that you can feel a slight stretch as well on that foot. Keep lengthening in the spine, softening in the hips, softening into that back knee. Think spaciousness in the spine, between the vertebrae, but also in the knee. And then if you wish, optional extra, take that leg off the cork block and put it behind the other leg. Come back out gently. Stand with your feet just a little wider. Soften the knees, soften the hips, soften the shoulders. Notice what you notice. What has changed? Observing your body with your internal eyes. Become aware of even the slightest sensation. How is your chest feeling? How is the belly region? How is the solar plexus? How are the hips? How is the spine? How are your feet connecting to the ground? How are your shoulders? Are your shoulders holding on? Is there any gripping in the body? And if you identify any gripping, see if you can soften that gripping. See if you can give your body to gravity a little more. Notice even, so laying on your back now, notice even the smallest sensation in your body. And then turn around, lay on your side. This and take the bottom leg a 90-degree angle to the front like this. So the knee is level with the hip and the leg is, the calf is in a 90-degree angle to the thigh. And the other leg, the top leg, is in one line with the body all the way to the knees, and then the foot is folding back so that you have again a 90-degree angle in the knee. So you are in like a runner's pose position, like this. Hold on, can I do it standing up? Yeah. So the top leg, 90-degree angle, bottom leg, 90-degree angle. That's it. And then with the arms, you're going to take the top arm to the front, 90-degree angle, the bottom arm to the back, again in that 90-degree angle. So the elbow will be level with the shoulders. So you are in a sort of wheel position. You can, for this one, also support your leg like this if it gets a bit uncomfortable in the knee or in the hip. So you can put a lift behind. But if this is comfortable and you actually have the feeling that you can go a little further, then you can fold that back leg more towards you and get another stretch for that front thigh. And then let go of that, come up with the help of your hands. And here we find ourselves back to almost where we started in the mermaid position from earlier. So twist yourself back into that mermaid pose, twisting with the hands away from the legs. Then come back to the middle, turn the legs over so that you swiftly change around to the other side. Front leg, 90-degree angle, top leg in one line with the body and 90-degree angle in the knee. And once you have got your legs in the right position, you take the arm that is facing the ground back to a 90-degree angle, so the elbow is level with the shoulders and the palms are facing, fingertips facing away from the elbows, and the front arm 90 degrees in front of you. And remember, if you need any support under that back knee, please put it there. So this is one of the reset positions, which means it gives your whole body a chance to reset, like a restart on the computer. If you want to, you can take the top arm, grab hold of your top ankle, and give yourself an extra stretch for the front thigh there. And then let go of that, lie on your back, and we'll do the last stretch of the day. But before we do the last stretch, just lie on your back for a moment, noticing what you notice. Become aware of the subtle changes in energy generated through doing these poses. Soften your body to the ground. Soften the shoulders, the back of the hands, the legs, the hips. Looking at your body from the inside, what do you notice? And then bend your legs And take your feet to the outer edges of your mat. Make sure you have your body aligned to be in the middle of your mat as well. So your spine is aligned with the midline of the mat. And then take your feet, walk them out to the outer edge of the mat, and then take your knees from side to side. And then just drop your knees to one side and feel that stretch. Stay there for a moment, just letting the knees soften to the ground. Breathing deeply. And come again into the Samana Vayu breath. So you inhale as if you were inhaling into the space beyond your body, gathering up the energy from beyond your body and breathing it out like inhaling air towards a flame, like wanting a flame to breathe more, breathing it out into your solar plexus. And then do the same to the other side, just dropping the knees to the other side. And again, inhaling that warm light from beyond your body, as if your lungs were on the outside of your body. And breathing it out into the Samana Vayu center, into the solar plexus. Fanning the flame, fanning the inner flame. And feeling the strength, that feeling of inner strength and empowerment that comes with that. And now bring your legs back to the middle. Take your right leg on top of your left leg, so the outer ankle comes towards the top of that knee. Hugging through, take hold of the thigh, the other thigh. And then with your right hand, you can just very gently, if that is needed, push that right knee away a little until you feel the stretch on the outer thigh. You hug that left thigh towards you, so your hands going through the middle, hugging that left thigh towards you, and pull it close enough that you feel that stretch. You want about 50 to 60% stretch intensity. And then breathe into that. Imagine the outer thigh was an extra lung, and you're inhaling into that extra lung. On the out breath, soften. Soften your hips to the ground, soften your shoulders to the ground. Just letting the shoulders and the hips get really heavy as you breathe out. Inhale, expanding. Expand the inhale into your whole body. Exhale, soften. And then place the left foot on the ground and keep that leg on that sideways position. Just come from side to side in this, with the legs in this constellation towards each other. And then let that right foot drop towards the left, connecting towards the ground. If the foot can't easily come towards the ground, then bring something underneath, like a block or a bolster or something, to place your foot on top. The knee needs to be pointing up towards the ceiling. And then you can let that head look over to the right. Soften that foot towards whatever surface it is standing on. Notice what you notice in sensations in the body. And then come back to the middle. Change around. Let the other leg come on top. Hug the right thigh towards you. Feel that stretch on the outer thigh. Maybe with the same hand, push the knee away a little. And then hug that thigh that you are holding close enough that you get about 60% stretch. The best gauge is your breath. If your breath is flowing smoothly, if you can soften your breath, the inhale softly flowing into the out-breath. If you're able to breathe deeply into belly, chest and collarbone region, then you're probably in the right intensity. If you're feeling something, of course. If you're not feeling anything, you might need to go a little deeper. That outer thigh like an extra lung being breathed. And then let go of the leg you are holding with your arms. Take your arms to the side, let your legs go from side to side. Soften the foot that is in connection to the ground, towards the ground. And then rolling all the way towards the right, so that that top leg comes towards the ground with the foot, with the knee pointing upwards. So the foot is actually standing on the ground, knee pointing up. It's a stretch for the upper hip flexor. And if you are not feeling this, then you need to take your legs slightly higher. If you are feeling it too much, take your legs slightly lower in relation to your trunk. So find the right position for you. Inhaling deeply and then softening yourself. Every part of you that is in connection to the ground, down to the ground. And then come back to the middle. Time for relaxation. You can sit or lie on your back. Do whatever feels right for you, either Shavasana, corpse pose, or restorative relaxation pose with the knees on a bolster, the feet touching, the knees outwards, like this, shoulders away from the ears. So that is easy relaxation pose, or you can sit in a comfortable seated position for our meditation. Sinking into this moment with your whole being. Make sure you have space between your shoulders and your ears. Make sure that the palms are soft, the eyes are soft. And your whole being softening to the ground. Releasing your weight to the support of the earth. And if you can bring that imagination of that light bubble around you, a warm, warm-hearted, calming space, inhaling that light into your whole being. And then softening to the ground, allowing all heaviness to sink down to the ground. Becoming aware of all sensations that are currently in your physical body. from toes to knees and back to toes, softening to earth. Inhaling spaciousness, releasing heaviness. And then from knees to hips and back down to knees again. Inhaling a spacious lightness, softening to the ground again. A spaciousness like the expanse of the sky. And then from the hips to the toes and back up to the hips again. An imagination as if there was no boundary between your body and the space around. Softening into space, softening into earth. And then from the hips to the shoulders and back again. Inhaling lightness. Exhaling heaviness. Inhaling spaciousness. Releasing any gripping. Softening into this moment. And then from the shoulders to the toes and back again. Are you aware of any sensations present? Inhaling spaciousness. Softening any gripping that is present. Then from the shoulders to the fingertips and back to the shoulders. What sensations are there? Inhaling lightness, releasing heaviness. Inhaling spaciousness, softening any gripping that might be there. And then from shoulders to toes to fingers and back to shoulders. The whole body as a unit. Inhaling lightness. Inhaling spaciousness. Releasing any holding or heaviness. Softening yourself, trusting yourself to the support of the earth. And then from the top of the head to the shoulders and back to the top of the head. Softening into space. from the top of the head to the toes and back again. The whole body, from the top of the head to the toes, to the fingertips as a unit. Inhaling lightness, releasing heaviness. Inhaling spaciousness. Letting go of anything that does not belong. Trusting your body's intelligence to know what needs to go. And allowing your whole being to become one with the space around. When you inhale, the space is breathing out into you. When you breathe out, space is inhaling you. The spaciousness in your physical being and in your subtle body being. Allowing them to blend into each other. Allowing that bubble around you to expand further into space, as far as your imagination would like to carry you out into space. Allowing yourself to expand as far as that feels right for you. A loving, kind expansion. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lie or sit there for as long as you wish, connecting to your breath, connecting to this present experience, and go about your day, taking that awareness of your body with you, with love and blessings.